Hey there, welcome to part 3 of my 5-part series on how I made $1,000 in 48 hours, all with a tiny email list of just 100 email subscribers. Now, if you have not watched parts 1 and 2, I'm going to tell you, stop the video right here, go back, watch videos 1 and 2, so that way you are familiar with everything that I'm going through, okay? Because I'm going through this step by step so you can easily follow along. Now in part 3, this part, I'm going to go over how I put together the email automation and how I configured it so that I can get some nice conversions and how I can follow up with people who have not even seen my first email. Okay, so let's dive right in and take a look. Now, before we dive into building this automation, if you watched the entire part 2 video, then I'm gonna wish you a hearty congratulations because it was a doozy, wasn't it? So let's go ahead and take a look at the automation that we started yesterday. So on part number 2, we went through the process of putting together the emails. Okay, so if you remember, I had this Google document where I pre-wrote all of my emails. Okay, so one thing that I did was I also created an alternate subject line. Okay, and the reason why I did this was because my coach Philip Barrowman told me, you're gonna send these emails out, and the fact of the matter is that people are busy. They're either working, they're spending time with their family, they're traveling, they're doing all kinds of stuff, okay? So the chances of them seeing your email and opening it is diminished just because of the way our lives are. Everyone is busy. Everyone has personal lives to attend to and work lives too. And so he said, you need to put together a follow-up or a resend in case these people do not see the email the first time. So that is the reason why I created a second subject for each email except for the last one. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I set up the automation so that way I can actually resend it if it was not open, if the first email wasn't opened, okay? And the reason why we have 2 separate subject lines is that you don't want to be sending 2 emails with the same subject line, okay? If someone sees that, they're gonna think that it's duplicates and they're gonna just delete it anyway, or they may unsubscribe. All right, we need something that is different so that way if they see the first one and we've already sent the second one, they'll open up both and they'll see the same thing, but the subject lines are different, so it'll get them to open up the email, which is what we want them to do. So let's head over to ActiveCampaign. Again, that's the autoresponder that I use. You use whatever autoresponder works for you. This happens to work for me and provides me with all the features that I need. So we're gonna go ahead and start this automation. Now, if you recall in part 2, when we built this simple automation, I wanted to make sure that I started it manually. Okay, so I created a manual trigger, and what's going to happen in that manual trigger is that I was going to grab my email list and I was going to drop them into the automation, and that just gives me a certain level of control, okay, so that I can start it when I feel comfortable starting it. I didn't want to use a tag or a list or any kind of other automated trigger because so many things can go wrong, right? I want to be able to just grab that list, drop them in, and off they go. So here are the 4 emails, and I wanted to make sure that they got the first email on a Friday. Okay, Friday at 10 a.m. was my goal. Okay, I wanted everybody on my list, no matter where you are in the world, to get that email at 10 a.m. your local time. Now, why did I send it on Friday? Well, because I've got 4 emails. Email number 4 is the day of the webinar email. Okay, that's just to remind people that the webinar is happening. So go sign up and attend it. Okay, so we got to work backwards. Okay, so this is Monday, Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. Okay, so that means Friday is day 1. Okay, so we are going to set this automation so that they receive the first email on Friday at 10 a.m. their time, their local time. Okay. Now, the reason why I chose 10 a.m., I just felt, people have already woken up. They're starting their day, and it's still early enough where if I send them an email, they're likely to open it. Okay. So I specifically chose that time. You choose a time that you think works for you, but I chose 10 a.m. Okay. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to add a trigger, and we are going to choose a wait trigger. Okay. And we're going to wait until specific conditions are met. And so I said, as I had mentioned, I wanted it to be sent on a Friday at 10 a.m. Okay. So the condition is we're going to choose the contact date and time here. And we're going to choose a specific day of the week. Okay, so we're going to choose the contact day. Let's see, where is it? Current day of the week. Okay, and we want to choose Friday. Okay, so that's Friday, but we also want to choose 10 a.m. Okay, so now we're going to select another condition, and we're going to choose contacts current time. Okay, and we're going to choose 10 a.m. Now, we're going to save that, and it's going to show us wait until the current day of the week in the contact's time zone is Friday, and the current time in the contact's time zone is 10 a.m. Okay, and we're not going to have any time limit. We're just going to leave it that way, and we're going to save it. Now, that is when the first email is going to be sent. Okay, so once 10 a.m. on Friday hits, no matter where you are in the world, you're going to get that email. Okay. Now, what happens after they get that email? Because I had mentioned that I was going to do some follow-ups. Okay. So I wanted to give people ample time to open up the email. So what we're going to do is we are going to wait. Okay. We want to wait for a specific period of time before we send them the resend of the email. Okay. As you recall, I came up with 2 subject lines. We want to vary the subject lines, okay? Just because we want it to be different. But we're going to send the same body of the email. So it's not like you have to write 2 separate emails for, email number 1, okay? So what we're going to do is once they are sent email number 1, we want to wait. So we're going to set another condition, a wait condition. And we're going to wait for a specific amount of time. So we're going to click on this button right here, and we're going to just wait for, and I chose to wait for 8 hours, okay? And the reason why I chose to wait for 8 hours is because people are working, right? So they're going to get that email at 10, and 8 hours later is at 6. So I'm giving them literally 8 hours to open up that email. And throughout the day, they may or they may not open that email, but that gives them enough time to do it. Now, if they don't open that email, what happens? That's where the magic happens. That's where we're going to resend them another email, the very same email, but with a different subject line, okay, to land in that inbox so that they see it and they open it, all right? So how do we do that? Okay, so now that we waited 8 hours, we have to add in another condition. We call it an if-else condition, okay? So we're going to select a condition, and we're going to say has opened, okay? These are the most popular conditions. I'm going to choose has opened, and we're going to choose a specific email, okay? So we're going to look for email number 1 right here, case study email number 1. So we're going to choose that email, and we are going to add it to our automation, okay? So what that means is they're gonna look, and they're gonna say, has the contact opened campaign case study email number 1? Okay, so yes, if they opened it, then we are going to wait. Okay, we want to wait 1 day. Okay, so we're gonna wait for a specific period of time. Okay, and we're gonna make it so specific because we want 10 a.m. on the very next day. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's build that. So we want to make sure that the date and time for the contact is the current day of the week. We want to make sure that is the next day. Okay, so the next day is Saturday. So we're going to choose Saturday. Okay, But we're going to add another condition. Remember, previously we sent them an email at 10 a.m. Okay, so we're going to choose a specific time again, and I like to be consistent, so I chose 10 a.m. So what this means is that we're going to wait until the current day of the week is Saturday, and the current time is 10 a.m. for that contact's specific location. Okay, so we're just going to save that. Okay, so what happens is if they open it, okay, so we're going to send them email number 1. We're going to wait 8 hours. If the contact has opened email number 1, then we are going to wait until the next day, until Saturday at 10 a.m. to send them email number 2. Now, what happens if they don't open up this email? Okay, what happens if after the 8-hour time period, they don't open up this email? Well, I wanted to wait just a little while longer because, at 6 o'clock, people come home, they have dinner. Okay, so I wanted to wait just a little while longer before I sent them another resend. Okay, so I wanted to wait specifically for 2 hours. Okay, I want to give them an extra 2 hours because they're going to have dinner, they're going to have family time, and now they're kind of relaxed. Okay, so at 8 p.m. their time, they're a little bit more prone to maybe looking at their phone or the computer and checking their email. So we're going to wait for 2 hours, and then that's when we're going to send them an email. Okay, so we have case study email number 1, which is what we just sent them, but we want to send them the resend email, okay? Because we're assuming based off of our conditions that they did not open up that email. So now we need to send them another email, the same email with a different subject line. So what we do is we're going to choose this email, but what we're going to do is we're going to copy and edit this, okay? So we're going to copy and edit that exact same email that we use. And we're going to make the modifications. Very, very simple. So ActiveCampaign will go through the process of making an exact duplicate of that very email. And we're going to go in and we're just going to change the subject line, okay? So let's go in here and we're going to just copy this subject line here just in case, okay? And we're going to head back to ActiveCampaign. Now here is that email, okay? So this is what it looks like. We don't need to make any changes to it, okay? We're just going to change the subject line, okay? So we're going to hit next. And you're going to see this was the old subject line, right? This is the first email subject line that we sent out, okay? So if you look over here, this is the first one, this strategy works, period. And this is the new one, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, okay? But before we do that, we want to make sure that the message name is unique so that we understand, okay? So we're going to do something like this. We're going to say email 1A. So we know that it is the next email being sent, okay? So you can do that, or you can do something like this. You can just say resend, okay? Totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with, okay? So we're just going to take a look at that. We also want to make sure, again, that we change this subject line. So we're going to hit edit, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to paste in our new subject line, okay? So learn the strategy I use, okay? That was the resend subject line, all right? Now, I want to do the same thing down here too, because this is when I'm going to test this email. So let me paste that in there, and then we are going to resend this test email to see what it looks like, to make sure that everything works. Okay, and we're going to send this test. Okay, so the email was sent successfully. And when we head into our Gmail account, we're going to open it up. Here it is. We'll take a look. Everything looks good. Okay, we just have a different email subject line. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how the resend works. So now that we've tested it out, everything looks good. Let's go ahead, click next. And we're going to finish this change here. We're going to click on finish. And we are done. Okay, so what happens now? Let's just walk through this real quick, okay? So they get sent the first email on Friday at 10 a.m. their time. Okay, so we send email number 1. We're gonna wait 8 hours. And after that 8-hour wait period, we're gonna take a look. Have they opened up that email number 1? If they have, great. We're gonna wait again till Saturday at 10 a.m. to send them email number 2. But what happens after, or if they have not opened email number 1? Well, we're gonna wait 2 hours, and then we're gonna resend. You can see right here, case study email 1, resend. We're gonna resend that email to them. And after that email is sent, we're going to add what's called a go-to action. Okay, so we're gonna do a go-to. We're gonna grab this and we're going to add them back into the automation. Okay, so we're gonna take them from the resend and we're gonna put them right in here, this queue right here. So they're gonna wait until 10 a.m. on Saturday to get the next email. Okay, and we're gonna repeat this entire process. Okay, once you get it, it is very simple. It's just, wait, resend it, send in the next one. Okay, so we're gonna go through this entire process right now. Now that they have been sent email number 2, we just repeat the process. Okay, so we're going to wait. We're gonna add a wait in here. And remember now, we waited for 8 hours. Okay, so we're gonna wait for 8 hours. So let's change this to 8 hours. Okay, so after they sent the email, we're gonna wait 8 hours. And again, we need to add a condition. Have they opened up email number 2? So we're gonna add that in here. So after we wait 8 hours, we are going to do an if else. Okay, so we're gonna wait. Now, the condition is, have they opened up the email? So we're gonna look at email number 2 here, because that's the email that we just sent them. And we're going to see if they have opened up that email. So the condition is, after we wait 8 hours after sending email number 2, have they opened up email number 2? If yes, then we are going to send them email number 3. And email number 3 happens on a Sunday. Okay, email number 2 was sent on a Saturday. Email number 3 is going to be sent on a Sunday at 10 a.m. Okay, so we are going to add in a wait period, and we're going to give a specific date and time. Okay, so again, we're going to wait for a date and time, and the current day of the week for that contact is on Sunday. Okay, so we're going to wait for Sunday, and we're going to wait for a specific time. So we're going to select a current time in the contact's time zone is now at 10 a.m. and we're going to save that. And you can see right here, current day of the week is Sunday, and the current time in the contact's time zone is 10 a.m. So we're going to save that. Okay, so that's what happens if they open up case study email number 2. We're going to put them into the queue, and they're going to be waiting for email number 3. Now, what happens if they don't open up email number 2? Well, we're going to go back here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wait 2 hours. We're going to resend the email number 2 with a different subject line, and then we're going to add them back into the flow. Okay, so right here, we're going to add a wait, and we're going to wait for a specific amount of time. We're going to wait for 2 hours. And after we wait 2 hours, we want to send them the email. We're going to resend email number 2. So now we're going to go back to the sending options, and we're going to send an email. And we're going to look for email number 2. Okay, and we want to just copy and edit it. We're going to use the exact same verbiage in it. We're just going to change the headline. So we're going to copy and edit. And while ActiveCampaign does its thing, we're going to go down to email number 2. And as you can see, this was subject line number 1. This is subject line number 2. So we're going to copy that. We're going to head back to ActiveCampaign. And here is email number 2. Okay, it's the exact same copy. So what we want to do again is change. We want to change the headline. So we're going to go in here and see this was the original one. Okay, we're going to edit that, but before we do that, we're going to go in here and we're going to call this resend. Okay, so that we understand that this is the follow-up email. And now we can go ahead and change the subject. All right, so we're going to go in here and we're just going to paste in our new email, our new subject line there. And we're going to change it down here too, because we want to test out the email to see if it works. Okay, so now that we've got our new test subject, okay, and this is the same one, we are going to send it to our Gmail account. We're going to send the test, and we're going to go over and check out our Gmail account. And as you can see, it landed in our Gmail account. Let's open this up and let's take a look. Okay, you can see free traffic and sales, got 90 seconds. Again, that was the resend subject. Okay, so it worked. Everything looks good. So now we're going to go back and we're going to repeat the process again for email number 3. Okay, so now that this is good, we're just going to click on next. Okay, everything looks good. And then we're going to go ahead and click finish. All right, so now you see that we sent email number 2, and it's right here, case study email 2 resend. Okay, after we send that email, we want to add them back into the flow. So we are going to add another condition called go to, same like before. And we're going to drag this and we're going to add them back into the flow. So the next email that they're going to get is going to be on Sunday at 10 a.m. their time. And we're going to repeat the whole process, okay? Again, we're going to add in a wait period, okay? So after they are sent email number 3, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to wait for 8 hours, right? We're going to change this to 8 and then wait 8 hours. Save that. Okay, so now we're going to wait 8 hours, and then we're going to go through the have they opened up this email, okay? So we're going to have active campaign check back for us. We're going to do an if else. And we're going to select has opened. And we're going to select email number 3. And we're going to add that in there, okay? So now does the contact match the following conditions? Have they opened up case study email number 3? If yes, then we are going to send them case study email number 4. Now, if you recall, email number 4 is on the day of the webinar. So this is a Monday, okay? So I'm going to change the time that it is sent. I want to send it closer to the 1 p.m. start time, Pacific time of this webinar. Okay, so we're going to add another condition here. Okay, we're going to wait until the current day is Monday, and I'm going to send it out at 11. Okay, so 2 hours before the start of the webinar. So we're going to do a wait. We're going to give it some specific conditions. We want to wait for a specific day of the week. Okay, so we want to make sure that the day of the week is Monday, and we're going to add another condition, and this time we want the time to be at 11. So 2 hours again before the start of the webinar. The webinar starts at 1 p.m. Pacific. I want it to be sent 2 hours before the start of the webinar, wherever they may be in the world. So they'll get it 2 hours before the start. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Okay, so you can see everything is set nicely. We're going to add that in there. Okay, and when it is Monday at 11 a.m., they are going to be sent case study email number 4. Now, we're going to go head back here to case study email number 3. What happens if they did not receive case study email number 3? Well, we're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to wait a couple hours, and they're going to do the resend, and we're going to add them back into the automation. Okay, so we're going to add in a wait, and we're going to wait for 2 hours. Okay, and then we're going to resend them email number 3. So we're going to go to send, I'm going to send an email, and we're going to look for email number 3, which is right here. And we want to, again, copy and edit. We don't want to change the verbiage. We want to just change the headline, okay, or the subject line. So let's scroll down to email number 3. And as you can see, we had subject, the original subject line here, and this is the resend subject line. Okay, so we're going to head back into active campaign and let it do its magic. And here is email number 3. Okay, so again, we're going to go in and we're going to change the subject line, because that's all we need to do. We're keeping the body of the email. Okay, so here we are, and again, this was the original email subject. Okay, it's happening tomorrow. Okay, right here. And again, we want to make sure we change the message name to say resend, because we are going to change the subject line. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's edit that. Okay, so now all we're going to do is just paste. This is our resend subject line. Okay, and then we want to go back down again and make sure that we test this out. Okay, so let's change this to, and we're going to send it to our Gmail account, and we're going to take a look to see if it looks good. Okay, and we're going to send a test, and then we'll go ahead and check our Gmail account. And as you can see, it landed in very nicely. This is the subject line that we just changed. Let's open up this email, and it looks good. Okay, everything looks good, and we can move on to our next email. So now that we're all good with that, we're going to click on next. Make sure that the subject looks good. Okay, the message name that is internal to us looks good. Everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and click on finish. Okay, so we just did email number 3. Okay, let's just zoom in. I'm sorry, let's zoom in here. Okay, this is email number 3. And what we want to do is we want to add, again, we want to add them back into our automation, or back into the flow. Okay, so we're going to do another condition called go to, and we're going to drag this back here. So now after they're resent the second email, if they did not open up email number 3, we're going to resend it to them, and they're going to be added back into the automation. Now they're going to get sent the final email, okay, on Monday at 11 a.m. okay, 2 hours prior to the start of the webinar. So they're going to get sent this email. Now what happens after we send email number 4? Well, the automation ends. So we need to stop the automation and end the automation by adding in a condition. Okay, so we can just end this automation. We're going to add that in there. Once they're done, we're good to go. Okay, so now you can see, and let me just zoom out here, because it can look kind of complex. It can look kind of scary, but actually once you do one, it's just basically repeating it over and over and over again. So I know this looks small, but I want to kind of just walk through this so you can see. Okay, so manually, I'm going to start this trigger. I'm going to trigger the automation manually. I'm going to drop everyone in here on Friday at 10 a.m. their time. They're going to get sent email number 1. We're going to wait 8 hours. Okay, and then we're gonna find out, have they opened up the email? If they have, great, we're gonna wait for the next day. If they haven't, well, we're gonna wait an additional 2 hours, give them some time, and we're gonna resend the first email. And after that, we're gonna drop them back into the flow. Okay, then on Saturday, the next day at 10 a.m., they're gonna get sent email number 2. We are gonna wait 8 hours again. Okay, and we're gonna ask ActiveCampaign, hey, have they opened up the email? If yes, great. We're going to wait till Sunday to send them the next email at 10 a.m. If not, let's wait another 2 hours, and let's go ahead and send them email number 2, resend email number 2, and we're going to add them back into the flow. Now, on Sunday at 10 a.m., they're going to get sent case study email number 3. We're going to wait 8 hours again. Now, if they have opened it up, great. We're going to wait and have them wait till Monday to receive the next email. That's email number 4 at 11 a.m. If not, we're going to wait an additional 2 hours again, and they're going to resend them case study email number 3, the resend email, and we're going to add them back into the flow. Now, on this day, on Monday, which is the day of the webinar, right here, they're going to be sent case study email number 4. And after that, because it's literally 2 hours before the webinar, the start of the webinar, we're just gonna end the automation. Okay, so that is how I've structured my email automation. this email automation, this was the first time that I did this, where I had specific follow-ups and specific dates and times. Normally, I would just send it out and I was just kind of cross my fingers and hope that people would get it. But I learned from my mentor and my coach, Philip Barrowman, that I could actually structure it and send it at a specific day and time, which really helped out a lot because I wanted it to arrive at their time, not my time and their time, not my time, but on their time. So that way I wouldn't have to worry about the time zones, okay? Now, the beauty of this automation is that I can use it over and over again. Because this webinar happens every time on a Monday, all I have to do is make sure that I change the subject lines, maybe tweak the emails a little bit, and when I'm ready to go, most importantly, always activate your automation. Okay, so click it to make it active, and then all I have to do now is drop my contacts into the automation to get it started. So I can do this over and over again, and when I'm done, all I have to do is turn it off so that the automation is not active anymore and everyone is happy, especially me. So with that, I hope you found video number 3 to be very helpful to you. If you did, let's go into video number 4, where I am going to talk about the hype page. So I'm going to show you the hype page. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'm going to show you the hype video that goes along with that page. It's a very short video, very easy page, but it pays huge dividends in this entire automation sequence. So with that, stick around for video number 4, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.